Okay, go.
Hi, welcome to Storyline Online. Today is March 26th, and I am happy to be able to read you a story, and I wish that it was in person. But soon we'll be together again. This is called Mr. Wolf's Pancakes by Jan Fearnley. One day, Mr. Wolf was feeling hungry. He decided to make some pancakes. Yum, yum, he said, licking his lips at the thought of a big pile of fresh, delicious pancakes. Mr. Wolf had never made pancakes before, so he took his big recipe book down off the shelf and looked inside. But wolves can't read, and Mr. Wolf had trouble understanding it. So he went to get some help from his neighbors. He called on Chicken Little, who lived next door. "Can you please help me read this?" he asked. "No," said Chicken Little, slamming the door in Mr. Wolf's face. Bang! "Oh dear," sighed Mr. Wolf. He sat down slowly, read the book, and worked out what he needed all by himself. So you can see in his head he sees milk, eggs, and flour. Mr. Wolf looked in his cupboard for the ingredients, but he couldn't find anything he needed. "I'll go to the store," he decided, and he settled down to write a list. But wolves aren't very good at writing, so Mr. Wolf called on Wee Willie Winkle. "You're very clever," said Mr. Wolf. "Can you help me write my shopping list, please?" "No," said Wee Willie Winkle. "Go away." He slammed the door. Bang! "There's no need to be like that," said Mr. Wolf quietly. Mr. Wolf sat down and worked very hard at his writing until he had made his shopping list, all by himself. Now he needed to count his money to make sure he had enough. But wolves aren't very good at counting, so he went to the gingerbread man for some help. "Can you help me count my money, please?" he asked politely. "No, I'm too busy to bother with you," said the gingerbread man, slamming his door. Bang! So poor Mr. Wolf had to sit down and count his money. It took him a long time, and he had to check it 3 times before it was right, but he did it all by himself. Mr. Wolf needed a basket to carry his groceries, so he called on Little Red Riding Hood. "May I please borrow your basket?" he asked very nicely. "I'm not lending you my basket," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Get out of here." So Mr. Wolf set off to the store without a basket. "I'll manage," he said. So Mr. Wolf went to the store. He looked at his list, remembered what he needed, counted out his money, and carried the eggs, milk, and flour home, all by himself. Now it was time to make the pancakes, but wolves aren't very good at cooking, so Mr. Wolf called on the 3 little pigs. "Can you please help me cook my pancakes? I'll share them with you," he said kindly. "Forget about it," chorused the pigs, slamming their doors. Bang, bang, bang. Mr. Wolf felt sad because nobody wanted to help him. Mr. Wolf went home and started to make the pancakes all by himself. Soon there was a huge pile of delicious pancakes on the table, all ready for eating. Now, as Mr. Wolf had been making his pancakes, a lovely smell had drifted out of the kitchen. All his neighbors could smell it, and it made them feel hungry. They wanted some pancakes too. They decided to try their luck. So they knocked on Mr. Wolf's door. "Give us some pancakes," said the rude bunch. "Why should I give you any?" said Mr. Wolf. "Not one of you would help me." "Well, we'll help you eat them," replied Mr. Wolf's neighbors nastily. "Anyway, we're not going away until you give us some." Mr. Wolf thought very hard for a moment. There was only one decent thing to do. "Oh, very well then," he sighed. "You better come in." Mr. Wolf opened the door wide, and whoosh, his greedy neighbors rudely pushed him aside and dashed down the hall. Mr. Wolf shook his head, shrugged his shoulders, followed them into the kitchen, and when they were all in, Mr. Wolf gobbled them up, snippety, snappity, and that was the end of his helpful neighbors. And then, with his bulging stomach still not full, Mr. Wolf sat down to eat his pile of pancakes, all by himself. Well, there was nobody else around.